Alright, so a little bit of time has progressed. The deck is finished. The footprint for the studio is down. This Advantech stuff that is guaranteed for 500 plus days in the rain and not to require sanding. This is what I used when we built our house and worked really, really good. So this one half is up, the cable tiebacks to the tree, and you can see that up there. I can't see it in this viewfinder very well, but you can see it up there. I put that in yesterday, and you can see the fist grips that are holding it in. I'll show that on this side. I was trying to beat darkness last night, so I didn't show any of that. But anyway, that's what we're getting ready to do today. And now I'm going to go up and put it into this one. And I'll drag the camera up there to show that. Alright, I'm up here. I'm getting ready to put this Garnier limb in at my spot. Got it all marked. You see I'm tied into the tree with one of my chokes. I don't have one of those traditional tree climbing, whatever they call the thing. But anyway, I got my harness and I'm harnessed in. Down at the bottom of the ladder, I've got deck screws holding the ladder down so it doesn't slip out from under me, because this requires a little bit of force and torque. So anyway, you can see that the deck had to be down before I could get up here and do this part. And kind of high up here, so you don't want to fall. So anyway, all common sense, common knowledge stuff. Here we go. Alright, so the hole was drilled. It doesn't take a lot, but you have to have a pretty powerful drill to do that. You'll see that I took a Garnier limb, I took it to my machine shop and had them thread the whole thing, because this is going to be the cable attachments, and I've got wire loops on some other nuts. But I got a nut, put it all the way to the bottom, and this is what I'm cranking on because I don't want to bung up the threads any. And getting ready to wrench this thing in here. This is the hardest part, and I don't have a GoPro, so you can't suffer along with me, but this is what it is. And then when the boss here gets seated into the tree, there'll be a couple of turns until it don't turn no more, and then I can start stringing the cables. This is what I get to smell all day while I'm working. My son is down there smoking a brisket in his smoker, and so for like the next 12 hours I'm going to sit here working, smelling that. And then when I'm done, it'll be pool time and food time. But right now it's crank like a knucklehead on the Garnier limb time. Okay, so this thing is in. Boy, was it a bear. You look down there, you can see my pipe wrench with a really long extension, and I was using every bit of that I could to get up here and get this baby twisted in with a couple of breaks. So the nut loops are on. You can see that the thimbles are already on them. You gotta spread these things with a cold chisel and then squish them back down on a vise to get them on here before the cable comes. I got them where they need to go. My cable's down there. I'm getting ready to put up this leg, and then I'll do the other leg. I've got a little space here for another nut loop if I need it. And down at the base here, you can see I've got some attachment points in case I needed to run a cable from that Garnier limb up to this one to pull it, but I don't think I'm going to need it. I think that's way overkill. I would never put another hole in a tree. I'll show the stabilizers that I had to put in. Actually, you can kind of see one from here. That's a stabilizer, and there's one on each side that, you see that other one? Yeah, there it is. So I got these in, and they adjust so that they're both pushing tension on the beam, so that there'll be no racking on the Garnier limb. It won't cant in the tree under high winds or anything. And the other side's exactly the same. So they're square, and since the deck rides on that one has to not move, otherwise it'll just move with the deck and eventually wear out the Garnier limb, and it'll come popping out of the tree, which is something I would not want to happen. So anyway, let me go ahead and put this cable on. Okay, so this is the last one. I wanted to catch a little bit of this. The turnbuckle, you see, it's got, I don't know, 12 inches or something of take up. And you extend that as far as it'll go. And if you just put the cable on there without pulling tension on it, yeah, you'd use that up and still never have the support you needed for the end of this platform. So what we've got here, this is called a Haven's grip, and it pulls, you've never seen one of these before, it pulls on the cable, and the harder the come along pulls, the tighter it pulls against the cable, which works really good. And then you pull it back up to where your cable is, and you get it preloaded. Then after you get it preloaded, you come down here and you put your fist grips on. I always give about that much in between them, and then I give about 12 inches here on the back, so that if in the future I needed to throw the Haven's grip on it and pull it tight again, you know, the turnbuckle will take up slack over time. This thing's stretching, whatever, but you get to a point you may need to take another bite on this thing, and you want to have enough to get the Haven's grip on there without it slipping. So I leave about 12 inches. And these fist grips things, they make the ones that are like U-bolts, but those don't grip as good. You need this fist grip thing where it's going to pull on this side and then pull on the other side, and it just smashes the cable together, and good solid connection. So alright, that's pretty much it there for these cables. They're up. I'm just going to pull this one tight to get it loaded the way I need it for the end, and I'm going to do boring crap like finish painting the deck here. You can see some of it's painted and some of it's not. Obviously I'm not painting the Advantech, but I got to paint, and then I'm going to start putting the deck boards down. More boring crap, and nobody needs to see that, so I'll be back. Alright, here we go. Round 2. Alright, so continuing on, the platform's done, as you can see. So we're on the second part here. I have to turn the music off so I don't get copyright hits, but we built one of the walls yesterday, built it in 8-foot sections so that it'll stay out of the way. Then we're going to lay it down, finish it all up, and stand it up and tie it in with the other walls. This is all the cuts for the other wall. These are the base plates and the top plates that I haven't laid out yet and started putting together. I'll do the same thing I did with this one. Just lay it out, put it together on the deck, stand it up against this tree, tie it up out of the way, and then start working on the ends, which are basically just header panels for the huge sliding glass doors that are going to be in here, and go from there. But again, the deal is getting everything up here, and then this isn't too bad. I mean, that's maybe 15 feet to the ground, something like that, but it slopes off into the back here, and back here it gets really far down there, and you're left with do I try to get a 4x8 sheet of plywood up here and nailed up on a ladder? Do I rent hundreds of dollars worth of scaffolding again? What do you do, you know? So we're gonna lay these walls down, assemble them all on the deck. Then I'm gonna rope pull them up. I'm gonna pull them up with my rope puller like I did everything else. Pull them up into place, and we'll show all of that. So, all right, I gotta get back to work now. It's really hot today, by the way. It's like 90-something degrees. I'm soaking wet. Okay. So the trick to building stuff way up high in a tree and doing it by yourself is to do as much as you can on the ground, because trying to paint, I don't even know how high that would be up there, but that's pretty tall up there, and I don't have a ladder that can reach. So these are already painted and cut. These are the exterior siding panels, and here's the gap panels, because the walls are 10 feet, and the other ones are over there. They've all been painted and sealed up and cut to size and are ready to go. And like I said before, you know, there's days passing between me making these recordings, but I'm pretty sure I said before that the walls up there are going to be laid down flat and put all together and then stood up and then squared off and tied up and nailed down and all of that. And then the rafter ridge beam starts and all the rafters get cut. This is all cut in place, stick built, no trusses. We don't need no trusses here. So anyway, that's it for my weekend. It's been brutally hot. I've been drinking like an ocean of water, it feels like. And that's it. So I was getting ahead of myself here. I wanted to film some of this because I was just trying to get the job done. So when you're working on a platform that's way up in the air and you don't have the luxury of hydraulic equipment and the loaders and stuff that the commercial contractors use, first of all, I wouldn't want it back here, like I said before, but you're left with old school moving stuff with tackles and blocks and that sort of thing. So I've got the 2 Garnier limbs up there, and then I've got a shackle up there. It comes down. I don't need it for these, I'm just winching these up by hand, but the heavier stuff that's coming next, the windows and the doors and all, are going to need this. Made a little runner, got it balanced, pull it on up here, get it out of the way, and then I'm going to put my walls together here, and it takes up the whole place. And once you get the Tyvek on it and you get the windows in, you can't be pulling stuff, so you got to stage everything. So you get all your stuff up, you get it up against a tree, out of the way, get your wall together. I'll show that too. You get it all put together. It's in 2 pieces right now. It's about to be 1 piece here in a minute. Tyvek windows in, stand it up, tie it up against a tree. Then you do this one. The doors, the sliding doors for either end of this thing they just showed up, and they're going to get delivered in like a week and a half. So I want to have the walls done and out of the way so that I can start building the end walls here in this space, this gap right here. Put the end walls in. Obviously going to need the winch to get these doors up because they weigh 200-300 pounds each, I guess. I don't know. I haven't tried to pick one up. Get them up out of the way, put the doors in, get one wall in, get the other wall in. Got to really think about this as you're putting something together. Little tiny bits and pieces and all of that. So there you go. That's how I'm doing that. Alright, so again, I've just been kind of knocking stuff out without recording anything, but the wall got put together, the top plate got put on, Tyvek's on, taped down, windows are in, sealed up. All of this has been done flat, which is, non-standard, but whatever. You assume that the walls are square, that the walls are level, and that the windows go in level. And since I've been in charge of this whole thing, I'm pretty confident that as long as they're bottom down and I got them in right, that they're going to come up level when I stand them up. So the T111's going on top. It's already been painted. I got the rest of them to put on. I'm just kind of taking a break. Need to go get some more electrolyte drink here. It's pretty hot. Get the rest of this put on. I got to put in the flashing that goes between the 2 pieces there to bridge that last 2 feet, and then get the rest of it on. So that's the process. The eye bolts are in now. So there's an eye bolt there, and then there's one right down there. And I'll have a block and tackle up there. Come down to here. I'll winch this thing straight up into place with some stoppers to make sure it stands up right where I want it. And then that'll be the end of that, and then I start working on the other wall. But not this weekend, because this weekend's over. Alright, so I've been remiss in my recording duties. A lot has happened since the last time I turned this thing on, but you see that I got the rope pulleys supported up to this pulley, and we're coming down and bringing these heavy doors up like this. There's a piece of plywood protecting the door. And then we winch them up slow and steady. As you can see, we've already got one up here. This wall's already in place and square and anchored in. And I can't put the other wall up until we get all the doors up here, because obviously this is coming down in the path of where the other wall is supposed to be. But the doors will be up, then the other wall comes up, then the doors get put in, and then I'll start on the roof. But we got 3 walls now, and the doors are coming up. Okay. So this last wall is going up, and again it's just me out here, so you'll see I got stops to keep it from sliding. That's where I want it. And I got more stops right there and right there, and I'm gonna crank this baby up into place because I got my little winch here. That'll get it real close, and then I'll just kind of push it up there. And I got clamps. I'm going to clamp the walls together, make sure everything's square, pull my diagonals, and then nail this puppy down. And the 4 walls are complete, solid and down, and then it starts on the stick-built roof. Get the ridged beam up there and get started here in a minute. Alright, I haven't been filming because I've been busting hump. We got a Hurricane Dorian that's like 200 and something mile-an-hour wind gusts, blah blah, whatever, off the coast. Heading up here, Sleeper Day weekend 2019, and I have been busting my butt to get this structure ready for some high winds in case they come. So the ridge beam went up. I don't know what I've filmed or what I haven't filmed anymore, but the ridge beam went up, and you can see that the initial supports, I left them just for some structural rigidity, and they weren't hurting anything, so I left them up under there. All of the joists are put together code-wise, the way they're supposed to be. There's the lateral bracing screwed in really good. You can see I got a couple of screws on this side, I got one on the other. They go all the way through this, double 2x4. Tripled up there, and then again screwed through the rafter one way and the other. We got the hurricane clips up here that take both of the top caps and put them together all the way across on 16s. You can see that the rafter joists break on every support, more or less, you know, and they come across. I'll get up and show you the other thing in just a minute. Great stuff, of course. We got all of the walls, all the Tyvek is now concealed because that stuff isn't going to hold up in the wind, obviously. And I'm ready to start painting the fascia and soffit. You can see it from the outside here. I cut the piece that goes up underneath for the soffit. I don't have very much to work with here as far as space between the fascia and the cables here that tie the ends together, and the tree, of course. Knowing that this is the end that actually moves on the support truss here, so I had to have room for it to be able to move back and forth without slamming into the tree. All right, let's look at this mess that I've created up top here. So, because I don't want to have to try and finagle a ladder up here, and on the other side it's even farther down, that's 25-30 feet measured down to the bottom to the top of this fascia. Well, probably more than that, but in any case I didn't want to be on a ladder. So I've done all of my sealing for the fascia and soffit from the inside. I made these wonderful little watertight pockets that I have to cover up now before we get our 4 or 5 inches of rain. So the soffits are all sealed. It was hard to get out in there, so there's just a big mess of caulk sealing it all up, making sure it's all nice and sealed. I will eventually, after this is done, get up in here and I'll drill little vents. They have those little round circular vents that are about an inch in diameter that you put in. They got a screen so that the roof and the insulation can breathe a little bit, but for right now I'm not worried about that. So that's that, and you can see the space between the tree and the fascia of the roof. There's not much. And then for the cable it's even less, but the cable will move, so if it really gets bouncy it'll move a little bit, and then it'll just kind of rub, and I'll have to get up here and work on that at some other point. So I'm about ready to start covering this up with plywood after I paint the outside. And of course I got 2 of these A-frame ladders with a walk board that I've created, and this is my scaffolding my poor man's scaffolding, or smart man's scaffolding, I guess, whatever you want, because it moves real easy. So modern technology is a wonderful thing. Yeah, Tyvek, great stuff. These strong ties, all good things, makes life easy. All right, I gotta start painting and get to work and get this roof on before this hurricane fallout gets here. All right, well, I haven't filmed much because all the cool stuff about a treehouse is over, and it kind of just turned into a typical construction project. So I sort of stopped cataloging it. But the roof is on up top. It's all painted. We've got the shed roofs coming over the decks here. That's what I'm working on today. This one's not done. This is the front side that goes off towards the, you can see it from my sunroom, so I want to do that one last. The inside's done. I'm not sure what I filmed last. I haven't really been paying attention. Like I said, it's been a long time since I filmed anything. So there's the bracing and the roof. All of the hurricane clips are in there. Kind of remember seeing something about that before. It's nice and dry, so I'm keeping all my stuff in here now. Back here's where we're working. Gonna get this shed roof put on. Probably at least dried in today. There's gonna be a little bit of an overhang on the back end here in case it rains. It won't blow up underneath here if you're sitting on the deck. That'd be a couple of ceiling fans and that sort of thing. But you're getting the idea of how this thing's coming together. None of the railings up or anything. You can see the poster down. I really don't know what to say. I just know that I haven't done any filming in a long time. So that's pretty much it. Down here I'm set up for ripping the fascias and soffits and getting the roof sheeting. Using plywood. I'm not using that fiberboard stuff or whatever they call that junk. This stuff that's down here, this Advantech stuff, is pretty good for flooring, but I don't want to put that particle board stuff up for my roof. I'd rather have the plywood. It's got a little more rigidity to it, holds together a little better because it cross ply with the wood. So, all right, well, enough talking. Time to get to work.